joined from Cairo by the international relations expert, Dr. Mohamed El-Tamawy. Good afternoon to you and welcome to Qnews. And let me start by asking about the Beijing raid. And what does it signal about Israel's rules of engagement on the Syrian front? And does it change the deterrence equation beyond the Golan?
All of you and all the attendees, for sure the raid for Beijing is a continuous way and clear way for the escalations, for the assault. Beijing is a Syrian way. It's for the army way, use the army way for enforcing a new role away from international laws or any international rules between relations between two countries or another countries. It's not only for a reply or reactions as they agree, but it takes the target of some sites for the Syrian lands, especially what is related to the government lands or for the escalations. It's a breach for the international agreements from 1974 between Israel and Syria, especially for deterrence the armies in terms of escalation in the Golan. These policies continues using for the international relations in enforcing the legal way. Israel gives itself its way for escalation as a threat, a safety threat, without any questioning from the community or social community, so that Golan or the northern areas in Syria is just a land for a chance for Israel to defeat or to escalate its way. So it's a continuous threat in front of numbers. So these kind of raids leads for death, increasing death and civilians, in addition for the increasing the financial field. It has an humanitarian way, so that the raid, in my opinion, reflects the Israeli strategy that targets the reconstruction and restructuring their mindset in enforcing the forced deterrence. This target depends on the Syrian mindset as well. This target not only the safety in just Syrian way, but also enforcing a present way to control a sensitive area and make as I said before, the northern lands a chance for the military chances for Israel. This policy threaten the security, the local security, and increase the escalation.
Yes.
And decrease the chances for any diplomatic relations.
Right. Let me here ask you, sir. Now, the UN envoy to Syria cited the 1974 disengagement agreement. From your point of view, with such attacks and raids, to which extent does this put the agreement's provisions at stake, and how to control the situation under the existing framework if or as it is breached?
The disengagement agreement in 1974 after 6 October war makes it as I said before, to control themselves and to not make a new military attack between the Syrian and the Israel. And what I refer, or what the UN refer, is the legal framework and the diplomatic framework that control the relations between Israel and Syria. And regarding the provisions for this agreement, the first article or the first provision is the military line and to cease fire. This is also called the difference line and to end the escalations. This line is an important line to differentiate between the Syrian army and the Israel army, and it prevent any attack or army attack between the two sides or to escalate without the coordination between the UN. So any breach for this line, as the air raids or the ground raids, is a breach or a direct breach between the UN and, as I said before, the local security. And regarding the second provision and second article is the de-weaponized land, because it's free of army and free of weapons between the Syrian and the Israeli field or line. The target is to decrease the army interruptions and to decrease any other escalations or any other facing. So this agreement between the two sides has to make a military base and to prevent any weaponized attacks in this area. And as I said before, to have a monitoring by the UN control. So this agreement laid a way for the UN to have a force, as what happened in Lebanon and Syria, to have a great role and pivotal role for controlling and to tell the UN security. So this monitoring allows a mechanism or a formal mechanism for the parties or the who breach. The fourth provision is to prevent any escalation or any attacks, and this is one more important because it says that stop any raids or any air raids or ground raids or any attacks, and to cease fire, because any breach, as I said before, opens a way for a strategic or international response, and it may increase the tension, the army tension. And for regarding the solutions, there are a lot of solutions. As what said by the UN as the major countries that they called to abiding by the agreement, there are increase for the monitoring of the attack and to stop enhancing it for the line. There may have a report or separated report for the UN security to have any precautions or strategic repercussions, but breaching the attack is not just a legal breaching, but it has to reorganization and reconstruction the relations between Syria and Israel. And as I said before, the raid may lead the other party to respond within a bad way, and it may lead to a major attack. So
indeed,
continuing.
Indeed. So we are speaking. We are speaking here about an escalation or probable escalation at the upcoming 72 hours on Syria, Lebanon, and Gaza. So, what or if operations continue in Damascus as that, what danger, what escalation can we see at this upcoming short period?
If the operations continued, as you said, in the upcoming 72 hours, the risks in Syria and Lebanon and Gaza is regarded in different ways because it threatens the local security. As I said, Syria, the continuous of operations and raids and attacks in Damascus has a great effect, and it leads to moving the attacks to other countries, to other areas, because this escalation will lead to increase the death of civilian and to destruction of the infrastructure, and it will lead to displacement, increasing displacement, because it will increase the risk to have a Russian intervention in many points or to put a limit for this escalation. It makes it complex for the situation in Syria, but there is another way, is the Lebanon way, because any tension or increased tension with Syria can lead to the displacement from the Syrian people to another areas, and it will threaten, as I said before, the local security, and and maybe the Lebanon army will move because of the political bias or political party, and it will lead lead to any attack or further attack, and for a stress for the Lebanon government at the same time. The pillar, we cannot we have to pay into consideration is the Gaza. It's not a direct way, but it has to a great risk. The escalation may increase in Syria, and it will may lead for the escalation for the Syria for the Israeli to the Gaza, and it threatened the local securities, and it may lead to any response from other parties.
Right. If I may ask you here, as matters are to explode at this stage, or hopefully not, but if matters are to explode, and what do you think the UN or the role that can be played by the UN and neutral players at this upcoming stage in order to at least stop escalation or further escalation?
Regarding the escalation that you've talked about, and for the unexploded ordnance, the UN can play a vital role for protecting the civilians and to facilitate and to help them. The UN for sure makes some negotiations with some parties for some de-escalation periods, and to pave the way for any civilians and to help them and to send or deliver aids with not giving any opportunity for any army or any recognition for any party. So this is a neutral actor, as the Red Crescent, they have a civilian experience and technical experience for removing these unexploded ordnance. So they may have give them the training for saving these areas and to ensure these areas and to save these areas. It can also play a role, a great role, to abide by the international and humanitarian agreement and to prevent any breaching. It may have some or give some reports to prevent or to give what Israeli makes and to abide by the international relations, international agreements also.